America under Trump no longer looks like the land of dreams. More and more foreigners are avoiding trips to the United States, and the situation keeps getting worse. The flow of tourists has decreased, and international airlines have started canceling flights to the US, some permanently. Certain routes have simply disappeared from the schedules. Flying to the US is no longer profitable. Recently, the country hosted the FIFA Club World Cup, but over 1 million stadium seats remained empty. The stands looked deserted. It was embarrassing. And yet America is preparing to host the Olympics and the next World Cup. With results like these, that will be a challenge. Instead of fixing the situation, Donald Trump added a new problem. He wants to charge $250 from anyone who simply applies for a visa, not for receiving the visa itself, but just for applying, as if everyone still dreams of going to the US, but that's no longer true. People now choose Europe, Asia, Latin America, anywhere but the US. This kind of move only drives them away. In the end, only those with a lot of money are let in. That hurts tourism, airlines, and everyday people who just wanted to visit. So what's driving Trump? Who benefits from making America even less appealing? Let's break down how this affects tourism, look at the numbers, and examine why the US is losing visitors from around the world. Global tourism is only just recovering after the pandemic, and America urgently needs to improve its image. But instead of becoming more welcoming, the Trump administration is introducing a new $250 visa fee. It's been dubbed the Visa Integrity Fee. Millions of people who don't qualify for visa-free entry will have to pay. Tourists, students, workers, and families from South America, Asia, Africa, and other global South countries. The decision is strange, and economically, it's even worse. The official explanation is that the fee is intended to reduce visa violations. But in practice, it looks more like a cash grab. People must pay a significant amount just to apply, and the idea of possibly getting a refund for good behavior sounds vague and unconvincing. It's essentially a donation to the American bureaucracy, without even a thank you note. And all this is happening just as the US prepares to host major global events, the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the 2028 Olympics in Los Angeles. These should have been moments when America reopened to the world after years of isolation. But instead, it seems like the country is slamming the door shut and asking people to pay just to knock. And this is only the beginning. The true cost of this policy will soon become clear. The US economy could lose about $12.5 billion in 2025 due to decreased spending by foreign tourists. For a country that was once the world's top tourist destination, that's a troubling sign. According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, spending by foreign visitors will fall from $181 billion in 2024 to less than $169 billion this year. That's a drop of nearly 7%. Compared to the pre-COVID era, it's a decline of 22.5%. Julia Simpson, head of the council, says this is a major red flag. Out of the 184 countries they monitor, the US is the only one where tourism is still shrinking. There are several reasons: political tensions, strict border policies, fears of detention, and the high cost of the US dollar. And these aren't just dry statistics. Every 1% drop in tourist spending equals nearly $2 billion lost. A 7% drop is a massive blow to hotels, airlines, restaurants, and cities. The flow of tourists from Canada and Europe has especially fallen. Road travel from Canada is down by 35% and air travel by 22%. Western Europe, down 17% in March alone. Domestic tourism is not enough to save the situation. Right now, nearly 90% of all tourism spending in the United States comes from Americans themselves. This makes the economy heavily dependent on internal demand. But future growth is only possible through international tourists, and there are fewer and fewer of them. Experts warn it will not be easy to bring tourists back. It could take years, and without serious action from the government, even the 2024 level may remain out of reach. Currently, international tourism brings the US nearly $250 billion per year. By 2027, this figure was projected to reach $279 billion. Before the pandemic, over 79 million foreign visitors came to the US every year. In 2023, only 66 million. So what is the government doing now to change the situation? It is introducing yet another payment, and not a small one. For example, a family from Argentina planning a vacation in Miami would now have to pay $1,000 just in visa fees. That money is non-refundable, and the rules are unclear. And this is before paying for tickets, hotels, or the visa itself. Those thousands of dollars could have stayed in the US, in cafes, shops, and parks. But now they vanish somewhere in the paperwork. The head of the US Travel Association, Jeff Freeman, compared the new fee to junk charges, saying it's worse than Ticketmaster's service fees. The new fee was quietly added to a large budget document, without debate or public explanation. There is no refund mechanism, no clear process, and no support. Technically, the Secretary of State can authorize a refund, but in practice, it's unclear how, when, or for whom. It's like paying for a ticket without knowing whether the ride will even happen. And that's not all. US consulates already have long backlogs. People may wait up to a year for a visa interview. So after paying $250, you just sit and wait. Meanwhile, countries like Canada, the United Kingdom, and even China have simplified their procedures. Some countries have even removed visa fees entirely. While the rest of the world is trying to make travel easier, the US is adding paperwork, fees, and delays. In 2023 alone, the US issued more than 11 million non-immigrant visas, mostly for tourists, students, and temporary workers. And these visas are not just documents. They represent real money. According to the US National Travel and Tourism Office, in 2022, foreign visitors spent $178 billion in the country. That spending supported nearly 7.5 million jobs. Cities like Orlando, New York, Las Vegas, and Los Angeles rely on tourism. Every dollar a visitor spends is a paycheck for a taxi driver, a hotel cleaner, a waiter, or a shop clerk. The new $250 fee is not just an inconvenience, it's a real blow to the local economy. Think this isn't a big deal? Let's see how the rest of the world is already reacting. In Europe, for example, everything is being done to make tourism easier. France, Italy, and Portugal are offering special visas for remote workers and simplified multiple entry visas. Japan and South Korea are handing out free travel passes and offering hotel discounts to attract as many guests as possible. The US, on the other hand, is tightening rules, and the results have been swift. According to the US Department of Commerce, the flow of foreign tourists is down nearly 20% compared to pre-pandemic levels. Business travel is down as well. International conferences that once took place in the US are now moving to Singapore, Dubai, and Amsterdam, places where it is easier to get a visa and the conditions are better. There is another important point: education. This used to be a major strength for the US, but now that too is changing. In just 1 year, the number of foreign students dropped by 11%, and over the past 4 years, by 15%. These students are now choosing Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia. Why? Because it is cheaper there, the application process is faster, and there is less bureaucracy. From a policy standpoint, this is not just bad publicity, it's a major strategic mistake. And the strangest part is that none of this is the result of a clear new strategy. The fee was introduced in haste, simply to plug budget gaps. No debate, no analysis, no input from the industry. According to people close to the decision-making process, it was just a way to raise money without touching taxes. And they picked the most convenient target: foreigners, people who have no voice and no influence. It is hard to believe this is seriously considered a reasonable move. And yet, the United States is spending billions of dollars preparing for the 2026 FIFA World Cup and the celebration of the 250th anniversary of independence. These events were supposed to showcase American hospitality, but so far, all tourists have received are lines, receipts, and surprise fees at the border. But what if, one day, the world simply stops coming? Let's look at a recent example. The 2025 FIFA Club World Cup was supposed to be a spectacle: star teams, fans from around the globe, sold-out stadiums. But that's not what happened. Across 48 group stage matches, only 1,670,000 tickets were sold, while the stadiums could have accommodated nearly 3 million fans. That means over 1 million seats went empty. The overall occupancy rate was just 57%. On average, only about 34,000 people attended each match. Even top clubs failed to attract crowds. For example, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta hosted the Chelsea versus Los Angeles match, but only 22,000 fans showed up, in a stadium that holds 70,000. The stands were half empty. Chelsea's coach later said the atmosphere felt a little strange. Some matches had fewer than 10,000 spectators. For instance, Olsen versus Mamelodi Sundowns in Orlando drew only 3,412 fans. Similar scenes played out in Cincinnati and Washington, and this tournament was meant to generate excitement for the 2026 World Cup. The United States wanted to warm up global interest and showcase itself, but instead, it became clear most Americans still are not that interested in club soccer, and foreign fans did not come because it was too expensive and too complicated. Now, the new $250 visa fee proposed by Trump sends a clear message: if you do not have money, do not come. It's the same logic behind Trump's infamous golden card for $5 million. But this time, it's not about luxury. It's about an ordinary trip to the United States. The difference is that this approach is now applied right at the border. But most people who want to visit America do not fly on private jets or stay in five-star hotels. They are ordinary families and working people from Canada, the United Kingdom, Germany, India, Nigeria, and many other countries. People who save up all year to take their kids to Disneyland, enroll in college, attend a wedding, or close a business deal. According to the U.S. Travel Association, more than 70% of international visitors come simply for tourism, and they spend their money in restaurants, hotels, stores, and on guided tours. And the true ultra-wealthy, the owners of villas and private jets, make up only a small fraction of all visitors. By focusing only on them, the United States is losing its core customer, the middle class, the very group that keeps small businesses alive in cities like New York, Miami, Los Angeles, and beyond. That is exactly what is happening now. This fee is not just an extra charge, it is a signal, and the whole world has heard it. Airlines have not stayed on the sidelines either. Major carriers from Canada and Europe are cutting back flights to the United States, not because of maintenance, and not because the season is over, simply because fewer and fewer people want to fly there. Some routes are even being scrapped entirely, and this is no longer a temporary measure, it is a full withdrawal. If this continues, the Olympics and the World Cup will not showcase American strength. On the contrary, they could become symbols of its decline. Half-empty stands, silence in the stadiums, and the whole world watching, but this time from the other side of the screen. It could become one of the most awkward moments in modern US history, and the most unsettling part. This is not an accident. It is a deliberate choice. Maybe some are just not paying attention, or maybe this is exactly the plan. But the result is the same. America is closing its doors, and the world is moving on. But once those doors open again, will anyone still want to walk through them? To stay updated on major developments from the global stage, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. The most interesting part is still ahead.